Former U.S. Attorney John Fishwick joining us now after parents sued ChatGPT claiming the AI is to blame for their son's suicide. As you know, John, bringing up the topic of suicide is always difficult. In this case, OpenAI and its CEO, Sam Altman, they are listed as defendants. Is this lawsuit, in your opinion, going to come down to what is in ChatGPT safety guidelines? Because many are wondering why these conversations were able to continue, or if there is an inherent flaw in the design, do you think?
Didi, I think certainly the lawsuit will focus on what those safety guidelines are and what was in place at the time and were they violated as this longer-term relationship between this young boy and ChatGPT, talking about a very sensitive subject that the lawsuit says ultimately led to his death by suicide. So I think they'll focus on that, but they'll very much drill down on the specific chats between this young boy and the artificial intelligence. What was said? I mean, the lawsuit claims that they talked about suicide, ways to commit suicide, and that it actually ChatGPT offered to write a suicide note for him. So those are very serious allegations on a very horrible, tragic result for this family. And so I think they will drill down very specifically to what was said to this young boy and also to the safety guidelines, as you pointed out.
A tragic result, as you mentioned, for this family. This is one of many families, we understand. There have been similar accusations against AI. Do you see this becoming a class action lawsuit?
I think this case will probably focus on what happened to this young boy, but I do think there probably are going to be other lawsuits. This is probably the tip of the iceberg. I would expect there will be other potentially class action lawsuits that focus on the design of artificial intelligence. I mean, how did this happen? You know, particularly with minors and those in vulnerable populations who are chatting with ChatGPT or their artificial intelligence over a long period of time, those in those vulnerable positions. What does that look like, and what is the design of these artificial intelligence to deal with those folks and to make sure they're protected and that harm is not done to them? So I think there is going to be lawsuits on a bigger scale looking at the overall function and design of AI. I think this particular case will focus on the tragic result to this young boy.
And obviously, when we talk about design, that goes hand in hand with content, John. What responsibility do platforms like ChatGPT and other AI platforms have in the content that's presented?
Didi, I think parents think they have a big responsibility, and I think anybody in a vulnerable position, that these artificial intelligence companies have a real responsibility to take care of them and not to do harm. You know, minors and children need to be protected, and I think what we're seeing here is some of the risks of artificial intelligence, particularly with vulnerable populations. They do have an obligation to those vulnerable populations. I think one thing this lawsuit brings forward is there will be changes to artificial intelligence. They'll have to respond to this and hopefully improve the way they're doing their operations, because this is a very tragic result.
And as you know, a lot of young people are forming these emotional connections with these AI bots. So that's something that we are also watching closely. Former U.S. Attorney John Fishwick, thank you for joining us on the National News Desk. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.